Good morning, Derryfield. I'm so happy to be back nearly 5 years after graduation to have an opportunity to speak to you. And I'm humbled that you've asked me to join you today on what is always one of my very favorite assemblies of the year. When I was a student at DS, at this assembly, Mr. McKay always gave us an Irish blessing, and we often heard a choral performance of simple gifts that was very dear to me. Thanksgiving is my favorite of all the major American holidays. And I have to admit that cake is my favorite food, but of course, I'm more than willing to settle for pumpkin pie after we've all gorged on turkey. But more seriously, I'm very lucky that much of my extended family lives right near me in Bow, and growing up, Thanksgiving was the most family-centric of all the holidays. Although I won't be home for Thanksgiving this year, for the very first time, I'll get to experience some of the magic of the Macy's parade live with my parents here in New York City instead of through a television screen, and I'm certainly grateful for that. A few years ago, one of my doctors suggested that spending just a few minutes every day listing off 10 things for which I'm grateful could offer a great benefit to my mental health. It sounds absurd when you think of it on the surface that listing a few things in your life of which you're already aware could have any meaningful impact on your well-being. But I found this exercise to be extraordinarily powerful. I encourage you all right now to just do this in your head as I continue talking. I think you'll find that the first few things that come to mind are the most obvious. Maybe your family, your siblings, if you have a long-term partner, maybe you're grateful for your dog or your cat. The next few things that you think of are usually right in front of you, but things you may often forget. If you're one of the Americans lucky enough to have a stable home, reliable transport, a health insurance plan, access to food when you're hungry, you may be grateful for those things. And then as you take a step back, consider your life from a more encompassing perspective. Think of what you've gone through and worked for to get after sitting in the auditorium today as a student or a faculty member at the Derryfield School. That alone is extraordinary. I feel incredibly lucky that I received not just any high school education, but a Derryfield one. My friends joke that even now in graduate school, I still won't shut up about Derryfield. We often refer to the undergraduate institution from which one graduates as his alma mater, his nourishing mother, but I think that is precisely Derryfield. Our mission statement says that we create young people who are valued, dynamic, confident, and purposeful members of any community. That is what this mother does for her children. The gift of Derryfield is that it is a place to be vulnerable, a place to take risks, a shoulder to cry, a group of people, your biggest cheerleaders for life, and your home forever. I formed many special relationships with coaches, teachers, classmates, and advisors when I was a student at Derryfield. But the one I hold most dearly is my friendship with the late Mr. Holland. Many of you probably never had the pleasure of hearing Mr. Holland yell, "Don't rush me, boy," across his classroom. But if you had, you'd understand why, even through his cynicism, we felt nothing but love for the man. It was Mr. Holland who stood on this stage and made the case that caring ought to be one of our core values. The man who is arguably the embodiment of Derryfield made the case for what this school has been and always will be to me. Derryfield is a community where one comes to care for others and be cared for intellectually, socially, and emotionally every day with the very brightest and most engaged students and faculty in New England. If you take my advice and you start to make a gratitude list, even occasionally, don't forget about how special this place is. There's a academic member of this community of learners and teachers, and I'm so grateful that Derryfield is my forever home. Mr. Holland said it best himself. If you think you missed me while I was gone, trust me, I missed you even more than you missed me. Thank you, and I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.